the Broncos and the Washington football team. And the Broncos are the favorites here by 3. The over-under is 44. And the Broncos are 3-0 this season versus teams currently with a losing record, 0-4 versus teams with 500 or better. Meanwhile, the vaunted Washington football team defense has allowed 20-plus points in each of their 7 games this season. On the Washington football injury side, Terry McLaurin, Ricky Seals-Jones, Antonio Gibson, Curtis Samuel, Logan Thomas are all the names that are interesting on that injury report. Broncos-wise, looks like this could be the return of Jerry Jeudy. Had a good practice on Tuesday. I'm assuming the same on Wednesday. Anyone else here? Not necessarily a needle mover for me, so I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to Matt for this one. Broncos, Washington football team. Who do you got?
Are we sure we don't want to rotate through everyone else so I can try to gather some opinions before that I have to talk about this crappy game?
That's why I said do the games beforehand.
Yeah, well, that doesn't help because it still makes me feel like I still don't know. For this game, it's at home for the Broncos. I don't know. I really don't like this game at all. Broncos like to try to have like their dual running back threats going on here. Well, the one thing Washington has been good at on a defensive standpoint so far has been the rush defense. So I don't have a lot of trust or faith in Javonte or Melvin Gordon in this game. However, with Jerry Jeudy coming back, Cortland Sutton being pretty consistent up until this point, and Noah Fant being a reliable middle of the pack tight end from a fantasy standpoint and also a good weapon for the team, I do have the Broncos winning this game and covering, simply just because Washington has not been able to put it together for several weeks at this point. They've been able to move the ball, but they've just been making ridiculously dumb decisions on offense. Hence Taylor Heineke's questionable sliding into the end zone. They're saying he was giving himself up or not. Regardless of whether that was a real call or not, or the right call, I just don't see them being able to handle it. The Broncos secondary has been pretty solid, so I don't have a ton of confidence in Terry McLaurin this week. I think he'll get his 4 to 5 for 60, potentially, just like a baseline type of game. But unless he's able to break one for a touchdown there, it's Logan Thomas has hurt this team quite significantly. I think it's making them a little bit too one-dimensional. Antonio Gibson has not been able to get anything going as of recent, whether it's the shin injury, whether it's the offensive line missing a couple players, or just him being the 2.0 version of Joe Mixon, where we look at the talent and then it just never comes to fruition. I don't know. But I just haven't seen enough on their end. So I'm going to take the home team. I'm going to take the Broncos to bounce back here. But someone please take this away from me, because that's already like 45 seconds of my life I'm never going to get back. Tyler, please.
Yeah, you said something that made my ears perk up. I was half asleep thinking about this game, and you said something that blew my mind. You're the biggest Scary Terry fan I know. And I think Terry's quite possibly one of my favorite DFS plays of the week. I think Terry's gonna have a monster game. Here's the thing.
Excite me.
Here's the thing. Denver has been very stout on defense in many areas, but the one thing that has killed them all season is giving up the big play. To me, Terry's one of the best big play threats in the NFL right now. They have nothing else. You laid it out perfectly with the tight end down, with Antonio Gibson not getting any kind of real highlight reel performances this season other than the screen pass he took to the house in week 2 or 3. The whole offense runs through Terry. And I honestly think they're going to take multiple deep shots because they're going to need to. And Terry's going to be able to take at least one, maybe 2 of them to the house. I love Terry this week. I'm actually going to play the over. I think this game, for all intents and purposes, is actually going to be one that while I don't look forward to watching it on paper, I think we're going to enjoy watching a little bit more in person. I think we're going to see a Denver team that has been so boring and handing the ball off and sticking to that game plan, exactly like you said, unable to do so. And Washington's been so bad against the pass that Denver might actually be able to move the ball through the air, especially with the return of Jerry Jeudy. I think this is a game that goes over. And I'm going to take Washington to cover. I think that Terry hits on a couple of those big plays. I think Denver hands the ball off enough times and comes into enough third down situations where it's maybe 3rd and 8 after handing off the ball twice and getting 2 yards that Denver's offense struggles a little bit. I still don't know that I would take Washington on the money line, but in a game where I could see either team winning pretty evenly, I'm always going to take the field goal spread. I'm going to take the dog in that situation. So maybe I'm off base, but Jake, tell me what you think.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning with you on this game, Tyler. I'm going to have Washington cover this one. I'm going to take the under, though. I just don't think it's an exciting game. Broncos look like a terrible team. Washington really hasn't figured it out unless they have those big plays, which is definitely possible whenever you're playing a defense, especially with a few injuries over there. It's definitely possible to have some big plays, but I just don't think it happens. So I'm gonna take the under. I'm gonna take Washington to cover this one. I'll just, like you said, Tyler, I'll take the field goal spread on this. It's a close game for me. I don't really have much. It's kind of a boring game. It's bad team. Scary Terry could definitely have a big game. Antonio Gibson, JD McKissick, kind of the guys that you're going to want to play on that side of the field. But yeah, other than that, pay attention to two, especially if Jerry Jeudy comes back in. I do like that play a lot, and I'm excited to see how that receiving core now flows again and works again with Jerry Jeudy, because they definitely had some opportunities when they were all there. Jerry Jeudy definitely makes a big difference for that offense, but coming off that injury, I still want to give it a game, see what he looks like. So
Washington's given up at least 24 points to every team they've played this year except for the Chargers. That's why I see this game going over. Washington's been the other team that's struggled with big plays. And even though usually we don't think of Denver as a big play offense, that's exactly what Jerry Jeudy does. That's the exact dynamic that this team has been missing. And I'm telling you guys, I have this weird feeling this game ends up being some kind of fantasy gold mine that we're not expecting.
Dude, thank you. You just made me feel a lot better. A lot better. That's actually that is a really, really good point about that. All right, I'm taking the over. Still taking the Broncos to cover, though.
Are we just all moving our lines now? All right.
That was a compelling argument.
I'll take the over then too. Okay. I don't want to be the only one left out. I'll take the over.
Wow, Jake, why'd you have to wait to be the third person? Wow, come on, jump on faster. Jeez. Mike, you jumping on here too? You already had your opinion, so you're third. Jake can be fourth, right?
Yeah, I had the over written down already, but you guys can all pile on. That's fine. Tyler led that boat. Let's be real clear. Tyler led that boat. But yeah, like you guys said, points are here to be had when it comes to explosive plays and just these defenses not living up to the hype necessarily. Broncos defense has been decent, but Washington has just not been. I am going to go ahead, though. I've coin flipped so much on this game. I think that the Broncos are the better team ultimately, so I'm going to take the Broncos very reluctantly. I don't want to, but very reluctantly, I'll side with the Broncos and the over.
Same Broncos team that lost to Case Keenum last week.
Is Case Keenum a downgrade from injured Baker Mayfield? I don't know. Probably not.
You have to understand.
They lost to Dearness Johnson. Let's be fair.
I thought the Broncos I thought the Broncos defense was a good unit. And then I watched them play against the Cleveland offense with absolutely nobody last week. And I just, yeah.
Then we realized they just played against the Jets.
Thank you for listening to this little highlight of the 2 Minute Drill podcast. If you want to follow along to other games, here's a playlist for you. If you want to listen to the show in its entirety, show links are in the description. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.